This chapter is short, so let's continue.
Yes, agreed.
How short is it? I need to know.
Less than an hour.
Okay.
It was just past midnight. Harrington Academy was wreathed in silence, still as a graveyard. The front gates were long closed, not a single student to be seen.
Jordan, are you there? Is he present?
He's in the call and he's viewing. Oh, there he is. Sorry.
I'm sleepy. Patrolling an academy at night is, I swear it's got to be one of the most worthless jobs. Who would break in here? If only I could go home to my bed.
As though out to prove him wrong, the guard then heard a suspicious sound from the first floor.
What is that scratching noise? A rat?
He raised his lantern and approached the source with a stiffness set in his bones.
Someone's there. Could it be a burglar?
He gripped the lantern till his knuckles were white. He knew that he had to prepare himself for what could turn quite ugly. A deep breath. Silence. Then he twisted the handle. A black shadow sprang from the room, racing down the staircase at a speed too great for him to follow.
Wait!
The guard unstiffened to stop his figure from escaping, but he was too late. They had already slipped into the darkness.
What on earth's happened here?
The sight within the classroom left him bewildered. It was a sea of white markings, some bold and in short chunks, some light and some lengthy, some mixture of both. Whether they were words or intricate symbols he could not identify, but found them in an eerie sight in that dark, dark room. It was Monday, but the week was already off to a bad start if the weather had anything to say about it. The sky looked as though it could start raining at any moment. It's looking rather grim, isn't it? I do hope this isn't a sign of bad things to come.
Indeed. Though you should still take care. As head of the family, you cannot afford to place your life in unnecessary danger.
You're right. I'll be careful. Perhaps I should stay. Perhaps I should sternly consider writing a will just in case. One never knows when such a thing might be needed.
A grim thought, but very true nonetheless. Leaving one would help to avoid needless conflict down the line. I place emphasis on would. I fully intend to ensure it never comes into play by protecting you myself. Fear not.
Well, thank you. Since we're on the subject, did Mother and Father leave a will of any kind?
I'm afraid they did not.
Our conversation was interrupted by the distressing sound of breaking glass farther inside the mansion. What could that have been?
It didn't sound like a window to me. Alicia mentioned she was going to work on exchanging that mirror this morning, so perhaps...
Forgive me, my lady.
Alicia came rushing into the room, flustered as one could be.
We were in the process of carrying an old mirror out of the mansion when one of the servants carelessly shattered its bits.
Never mind the mirror. No one was hurt, I hope.
Thank goodness, no. They're working on gathering the pieces as we speak. But what a terrible omen this is. We'll be certain to bury each piece under the moonlight post-haste.
After declaring as much, Alicia scurried out of the room, each trembling step and wiggle of her shoulders displaying more panic than the last.
That is concerning. They say breaking a home's mirror brings with it 7 years of bad luck.
But that's nothing more than a silly superstition, isn't it? All that matters to me is that no one was hurt.
Be that as it may, the seeds of misfortune can truly be sown when you least expect it. I beg you to be careful.
Of course. Feeling a certain degree of unease myself, I set off to school. It hadn't taken long to notice there was something amiss in my classroom. Oh my, what is all this? Oh! I was left speechless at the sight. From end to end, wall to wall, desk to desk, everything was liberally covered in chalk scribblings. Some were made up of English letters, while others included seemingly random marks and symbols. Could this be a code of sorts?
Who voiced him before?
Jordan.
I think it was me. Oh, it was
Oh.
Jordan, sorry.
Go ahead, Jordan.
That's right, I was covering for him. Sorry, Jordan.
Oh, no worries. I was trying to remember who it was. What was that culprit thinking by writing over everything like this? Even for a prank, this is going too far.
You don't think it was the work of someone with a grudge against his class, do you? Writing across the board is one thing, perhaps, but the desk?
What the deuce is going on here?
Whoa, now this is a sight. Our room's covered in chalk.
Holmes and Watson were as wide-eyed as everyone else who entered. Next arrived were Akechi. Next arrived were Akechi and Kobayashi.
According to one of the guards on patrol, it happened late in the night at the weekend. He claims he spotted a suspicious man running out of the classroom, and upon further investigation, found the room in this state.
His first instinct was that it might have been part of a burglary of sorts, so he reported it to Scotland Yard and had them examine the academy from top to bottom. But no one was able to find anything else out of the ordinary or gone. This room was the only change.
By the sound of it, they had gone to question the school's guard immediately after seeing the classroom.
I assume Scotland Yard left the room as it was to preserve the crime scene? How thoughtful of them.
I don't suspect our criminal selected chalk on a whim, either. There's very little excess chalk powder, and the writing on the desk is finely printed, indicating great familiarity.
We meant to catch criminals, Akechi, not praise them.
Praising them was not my intention in the least. Still, I think we're dealing with a very methodical individual. Despite a sense of urgency in each stroke, the letters are written in orderly lines and are clearly legible.
I can read textbooks well enough, but my English reading and writing skills aren't good enough to handle the scribble like this yet.
The way the letters curl at the end is quite distinctive, thankfully. I feel like I've seen handwriting exactly like this somewhere before. Where was it?
Mr. Mackenzie.
Mr. Mackenzie.
Holmes and Marple, speaking with such snappy unison, spelt the writing on the wall better than any chalk could. I, too, couldn't help but feel I'd seen this handwriting.
All right, class. In our previous lesson, we covered the cipher used by Mary, Queen of Scots, and her co-conspirator, Babington, when they exchanged letters. And that's why today we're to cover a cipher used in a completely different country, France. The one used by Queen Mary Antoinette, to be precise. take a gander at the blackboard. As you can see, the most distinctive feature of this cipher is that ampersands are used frequently in addition to letters.
I think they might be right. He does have a tendency of curling his letters at their ends when writing on the blackboard.
It takes a keen eye to be conscious of unique quirks in your teacher's handwriting. Such a thing occurs in much in English as it does in Japanese, apparently.
Akechi wasted no time in jotting down notes.
Sorry, I was on mute. Where is Mr. Mackenzie? He should be here by now, shouldn't he?
What's an obvious thing we missed? As you said that, the school bell chimed to indicate the start of lessons. The classroom door creaked, and we all turned expecting to see him at the doorway.
Mr. Mackenzie's not in, so we're to work on our own for first period.
Lupine was standing there, typical meek posture and all, instead.
He's not in.
How peculiar. He's never been absent for a single day since I've been in attendance. The mysteries are piling atop one another by the second.
Wait a second.
Is something wrong, Watson?
Not wrong, but the other day, he mentioned something about not having very long left.
What? He said that?
He did. He looked even gloomier than usual when he said it.
What if he's been targeted by someone?
And leave a veritable novel across the walls for us to decipher? It's a bit dramatic, don't you think?
Whatever's happening must be very serious for him to resort to something so drastic.
Did you hear anything, Lupin?
I do know he never contacted the school to say he was going to be absent, so... you don't think it's bad, do you?
Calm down, Lupin.
Holmes' eyes were focused on the cryptic writing.
Mr. Mackenzie must have been trying to tell us something by leaving these messages. That said, there's a possibility we are dealing with a serious case here. We best proceed with caution.
You're right. The normally fun, pleasant atmosphere of the classroom had devolved into one of great tension.
But leaving things as they are does us no favors, unless we want to be covered head to toe in chalk by the time we go home. I propose copying down all the messages and wiping everything down.
I've taken care of half of that already. Here's a copy for you, Holmes.
Watson proudly shared a piece of paper with the coded messages copied on.
Very impressive, Watson. I'm glad I can count on you for some simple tasks just like this. At least.
No one makes a compliment sound like an insult quite like you, my dear friend.
I've made a copy for myself as well.
As have I. There's an additional one for your reference, Kobayashi.
Obliged.
I'm finished with mine.
What about you, Jack? Are you finished? The class's gaze centered on Jack, who was sitting at his desk.
Don't care.
I see you made your own copy. The egg on your fingers, despite first period having only just begun, tells me everything I need to know. Very quick work.
Dot off, Holmes.
Jack turned away from all of us. All right, then. Can anyone here decode this?
Not me, I'm afraid.
I haven't a clue, but might find something if we go to the library.
That's a fine idea. Shall we get going, then? Sitting here pondering isn't going to get us anywhere.
All right. Good luck.
We'll wait here. So if you find anything out, come and let us know. Of course. Best of luck on your end as well.
We may well have stumbled on a major case here, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. Let's solve this!
Kobayashi, you do realize the only reason we're enrolled here is due to Mr. Mackenzie's generosity. I find it highly improper that you should behave this way when his life may be on the line. Cease at once.
I know.
At that point, Jack caught my eye. He was showing no obvious interest in accompanying us. It's possible he knows something we don't. He may feign disinterest in the cipher, but he did jot them down. Unsurprisingly, he was half-lidded and watching nothing in particular. Shall I reach him? Why not? I decided to speak to him. Pardon me, Jack, but you wouldn't have some idea of what these messages mean, do you?
Not a clue.
You copied them down, though, right? Which must mean that you have some interest in pursuing the matter.
I ain't got no interest, no. Copying them down is my own business.
But you thought to do so in case you found the answer, yes? Won't you consider joining us, Jack? We all need the assistance we can afford with this.
It's got nothing to do with me. Off with you now.
Well, all right. But should you change your mind, you're always welcome. I'll be waiting. The matter settled as much as any matter with Jack could be. He returned with a practiced languor to gazing out the window. I did so want to keep pressuring him, but with a quick pause and thought, decided it was best to hurry to the library. As we were about to leave the classroom, someone called out to me.
Miss Whiteley,
Akechi approached. Yes?
I do apologize for this, but I think it would be best if Kobayashi and I were to split off from the rest of the group.
What? Why?
I would appreciate if you didn't look quite so sad. I'm not suggesting that the two of us don't work alongside you. Rather, if Mr. Mackenzie truly is in danger, then it's possible it would be too late by the time we decode these messages. The two of us intend to try pursuing the case from other angles in hopes that we can discover anything else that may help us.
So we'll leave the deciphering to your side. Best of luck!
Sounds less like helping and more like dropping the hard work on us.
Don't jump to conclusions, Watson. What you're saying makes perfect sense. There are times when it pays to look at a case from a completely different angle.
I think it's best to let them go. All right, take care. We'll do the best we can here.
Thank you. We shall pray Mr. Mackenzie is safe.
See you later, and good luck!
Akechi and Kobayashi hurried out of the classroom.
He's already been caught in something, and we can't afford mistakes when decoding the cipher.
True. That we can't.
Jack? I was quite surprised upon Jack's Jack's introduction. He insisted this had nothing to do with him, but he was curious about it after all. He must be worried for Mr. Mackenzie also. Thank God he's stepped up.
What's that face for?
Oh, don't mind me.
There's a chance the messages were written to mix us up. A ploy to distract us from something more sinister in the works. Could be at any rate.
Your logic is sound, but the version is or not. This is clearly Mr. Mackenzie's handwriting.
I should agree. The way his letters curled at the end is the same. Can't notice such things when using a pen, but it's plain as day here.
Jack sought the notes he'd written on his desk for reference.
Even if some bloke mimicked the handwriting, it wouldn't be easy to do the same for habits that are only seen when he jots these down in chalk. Though, could be he was coerced.
Unintentionally, my eyes wandered over to Jack's notes, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Your notes are impeccable, Jack. Despite my efforts to hold it in, I squeaked out a tiny gasp. You even copied the teacher's handwriting! What a gift you have!
You thick? I never said you could look!
I've taken this part nearly in cursive as mine. Well done.
It's from when he asked you to write on the board. You'd be polite to stop staring any time.
As for this childish scrawl here, this must be Watford. Very accurate indeed.
That's mine? It can't be that terrible. Besides, I'm always the one jotting down clues during our cases. I need to prioritize speed over all else. I do plan on getting them together and putting my memoirs in the book, but until then, I don't see the need to make it pretty.
Save yourself the effort and purchase a typewriter. You can't write worth a damn.
Have to mind it that much? Right. Isn't it about time we shifted focus towards decoding those messages?
With the mood considerably more cheery than before, we made our way to the library. Once there, we put our heads together and started looking over each of the messages we had copied.
Here's the one that was written on my desk, and this one here is the one that was on Holmes.
I'll wager this simple substitution cipher.
What's that? Pardon, Holmes, but I'm not at all familiar with the term.
It's a cipher where each letter is substituted for another, although the name already implies as much. As an example, let's take the 26 letters of the English alphabet, A to Z. You will first decide what to substitute each letter for, and create a table reflecting the answers for easy reference. The most straightforward one would be replacing each letter with the letter that comes after it in the alphabet, A for B, B for C, and so on. If I were to write my own name this way, this would be the result.
I see. That makes for quite an effective cipher. It would take me a while to work out the messages.
Perhaps for you, but for anyone used to decoding these things, it would take no time at all. They would be able to read the original message if it never existed. There aren't many familiar enough with ciphers for that to be the case, mine, but I find it still worth noting.
Mr. Mackenzie's messages uses more than letters. It uses symbols as well. How are we possibly meant to decode this?
The key lies in how frequently the letters of the English alphabet are used. Look at the messages we've been given. Do you notice how many symbols and letters crop up far more often than others?
You're right. Like this one here. Oh, and this one.
The most commonly used letter in the English alphabet is E. Second is T, followed by A, then O, and all the way down to the last. As such, we're best off substituting letters in the cipher for the standard alphabet based on frequency. We can correct the mistakes and piece together the rules along the way. So upon this inspection, it's the most only used letter, therefore likely E. This is presumably T.
And in cases where there are two letters or symbols used consecutively,
Not every letter was designed to be written twice in this succession in the English language, but certain letters do happen to be used commonly for just that. L as in all, T as in Scott, S as in mission.
we can narrow down the most likely candidates for double letters in these ciphers easily enough then.
Correct. Incidentally, E and O are also common consecutive letters.
Oh, testing every letter and symbol sounds as taxing as it is tedious.
It may not be as difficult to decode as you think. These symbols resemble those used in the cipher used by Mary, Queen of Scots.
That's encouraging. There should be some books on that cipher somewhere in the library.
Shall we see what we can find then? Which bookshelves shall we check first? Let's check the classified documents on major crimes. Let me see if I can find anything among the books on crimes. Mary, Queen of Scots, used a cipher when exchanging letters with the other conspirators in the plot to assassinate England's queen. A book that details the plot ought to have more regarding the cipher. The case is known as the Babington plot, I believe. I started looking in the bookshelves farther inside the library. I searched through the top shelf of a particular bookcase after borrowing a stepladder, upon which good fortune finally came to me. Here we are! The Babington plot, execution and error. This is perfect! I extended my hand out as far as I could reach, and just as I thought I had it... I lost my balance. I'd fully expected a harsh landing on the floor, but no such thing came. Rather, the landing was... soft.
You're heavy.
What? Jack, why are you underneath me?
Never mind it, just get off! How did you not see I was here?
Beg pardon? My mind was so wrapped up in the cipher business that I wasn't paying proper attention.
Ugh.
As I stood, Marple appeared from a neighboring bookshelf.
Everything all right? I heard a loud noise.
You fell from the ladder and onto...
Nothing at all, Marple. I only happened to drop a book. That's all. I moved to cover Jack's mouth at such a speed that I nearly looked as if I was slapping him.
Oh, was it the book you needed, Emily?
I believe so. I'm absolutely certain you'll have what we're looking for.
I'm glad to hear that. And if I may politely observe, I never knew you were so friendly with one another. Very interesting.
Marple left the conversation at that and wandered off to a nearby bookshelf.
Ugh, for God's sake, off with you!
Please, Jack, don't tell the others about what just happened, please.
And waste me breath talking about something so stupid? What noble woman slaps her hand over someone's face? You sure you're all tough?
I do apologize. Really, it was more a reflex than on purpose. You can't blame me. You're not mad with me, are you?
You're a right danger to yourself.
How?
Just try not to fall on me head again.
Like Marple, Jack chose a cryptic end to the conversation before leaving. Whose message shall I decipher first? I'll look at Watson's. We'll start with your message. Watson, let's see.
Now that I've taken a closer look, I have a hunch H is the most common letter in mine.
I suspect it's as simple as Caesar's cipher, then.
What, if I may ask, constitutes one of those?
It's when each letter is shifted a certain number of places up or down the alphabet. This appears to be a right shift of 3.
Did he give me an easy one because he thought I wouldn't be able to manage anything more difficult? I don't know how I feel about that.
That makes the first word. What is the first word? In. In, then?
That's what I think. I must be on the right track.
We persisted through the ciphers, questioning, decoding, pursing our lips in irritation, when, without a clue and cheering with one, was solved beyond doubt. Each success was enough to restore our motivation for the next. Oh, we've done it! Everything's been decoded. We'll have to let the others know it's done. We retired for the classroom as though there wasn't a second to spare.
Alright, we put all the messages together so that they can be read coherently. This is what we're left with.
I fear I do not have long to live.
But even should Heartless Blade tear into me, I would always be proud to have been able to teach you.
By the time you have finished decoding this message, I may no longer be of this world.
But for this time, I bid myself to rest, recalling with warmth your smiles.
From St. Woolworth 112A to my beloved students.
None of us could contain our shock. Mr. Mackenzie!
Blades tear into me? His life is absolutely in danger.
I think you missed the most important point. The address at the bottom. The rest is within the realms of our expectations. I have a horrible feeling about this. This address may be...
Maybe what, Holmes? Have you figured out something more?
No, I haven't. I was rambling.
We should hurry to wherever this is. What if the worst has already happened?
And if it's a trap, are we safe to go?
Even if it is, it's the only way we're going to learn what happened to him.
I agree. Let's go. Our apprehension growing ever stronger, we ran. We traveled after hailing a cab. The address was revealed to us when it finally stopped. Holmes, this can't be.
It is. We have reached a graveyard.
The chime of church bells was distant. Lightning flickered across the sky, and rain began to pound against us to create a woeful painting. The sight within the graveyard grew more unsettling when we observed eerie silhouettes not far away. They were all dressed in black clothing, sniffling and sobbing and holding one another. We approached. Carved on one of the gravestones closest to them was an all-too-familiar name. No, I refused to believe it. It was the one we dreaded the most. Mackenzie.
Were we too late? No.
All of us were left speechless by the reality before us. Then, just like that, silence was broken.
Jordan,
Oh, hello, class. What brings you here?
Who? I turned in response to the voice and was at a sudden loss. Mr. Mackenzie! Why are you... Moments before, we had been convinced he was laid to rest. But there he was, standing, alive.
Mr. Mackenzie, don't tell me you weren't able to descend and are now trapped here as a ghost. Oh, no, I assure you, I am breathing quite well. This here is the funeral of an old friend.
But we decoded all those messages you left for us. Why, one of them had this very address.
Haha. That's how you found this place.
Mr. Mackenzie, perhaps we are owed a swift explanation.
Well, with regards to the address, I live next to this graveyard. My home is a stone's throw away from here. So it was for your home?
Then whose gravestone is that?
That would be my father's. He lost his life to hepatitis O, I don't know how many years ago. That he was laid to rest next to my home is quite fortunate for me.
That ain't what most call fortunate.
Then you weren't being targeted by people after your life. You'd mentioned not having long to live.
Ah, so I did. That was in reference to my Sunday appendicitis.
Appendicitis?
I was told surgery was my only option if I hoped to survive. They'd have cut me right open with a scalpel. To be put to sleep with chloroform and cut open left me positively shaken. But to do so without an anesthetic made it worse. So, as you can understand, I feared greatly for my health and fled.
You're a grown adult, sir.
You're quite right, which is why I decided to steel my nerves to be cut open by a steel scalpel. But first, I left you my ciphered messages so I would have no regrets.
Have you had the surgery?
I have. My abdomen was hacked to bits. Or as the doctor might say, the surgery was without complications. I am indeed fit to return to lessons.
Mr. Mackenzie relayed his tale with gaiety, but he was the only person among us who wore a smile.
I'd rather bury you right here.
Let's not be too angry, Jack. That goes for all of you. We should be grateful he is, well, I suppose.
Well, I'll admit to some relief that he is alive.
It would leave us with some rather unpleasant memories of our final piece of schoolwork was deciphering our teacher's will.
You were this worried? God has blessed me. This I know. This I know.
He was so deeply, genuinely moved that the entire class lost its will to complain any further.
The end.
What? How did this get here? I felt a folded piece of paper in my pocket and removed it to read its contents. It's a Caesar cipher. This must be from Watson. I'll need to substitute each letter with the one that comes 3 letters after. That. I can do that.
Thank you for your help today. I bet our schoolmates were thrilled to have you leading the way. I know I was.
Goodness. Reading it gave me a warm, fluttery feeling in my chest. I happened to nonchalantly look up after reading it to spot just who I was thinking about. Watson must have been thinking of me also. He then placed his finger on his lips and gave me a mischievous grin. I'm sure I was even more thrilled than you, Watson. We exchanged smiles, the rest of our potential audience completely unaware of our own little world. I folded the message and placed it carefully in my pocket. The rain had stopped. As quickly as it had come, it was gone and clear. The day had been an eventful one, but I was delighted that our mystery ended with Mr. Mackenzie safe. Perhaps it was worth the anxiety to know that we could come together as a class. Pendleton was the first to greet me upon my return.
I see you've had quite the fulfilling day, my lady.
What a sneaky smile! The man was up to no good. As usual. Truly, what makes you think that?
You appear exhausted, but at the same time, it's as though something wonderful happened that made it all worthwhile. Like one of my lectures and Christmas came at once.
I take issue with your comparison, but it does work. I'm a bit exhausted, yes, but it feels like the first time we've all come together to achieve something grand. If I think of it like that, it was rather fulfilling.
You now look over the moon with joy, to where you've lost your mind above the clouds, whilst your body stands blissfully vacant on earth.
Bother your lack of manners! I'll have you know that I'm always mindful.
Are you?
As I started to wonder whether I might have bordered on being overconfident, Pendleton's, still no good, grin grew especially devilish.
Should that be true, then you won't have any problem with me testing, so... Now, I intend to...
Excuse me?
What? What? I'm sorry.
You what?
What? Now... Now I intend to storm upon your bed whilst you sleep tonight. I trust I have your consent.
I nearly lost my footing from how sharply my heart thumped. You will... what? Of course you don't have my consent. You know what it takes to wake me up once I've fallen asleep? And it's no small effort. And I dare say that it isn't something to say to a lady on any given occasion.
I spoke in jest, but I do hope it serves as a cautionary tale should you continue to aggrandize your impeccable guard before others. There is fearless, and then there is folly.
Oh, you are absolutely unbelievable. You're an extraordinary butler, but you're half that as a man.
I'm honored you think so highly of me as a butler, my lady.
Oh, yes. Oh, with nothing more to be said, I twisted my heel and prepared for a pleasant evening at home.
They had us in the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
I
I
consensually
Oh my
storm your
fucking
bed.
god! I intend to storm your bed. Do I have your permission to do so? Questionable butler.
It should be sus.
Oh my god. Why is Pendleton not a love interest?
Oh, dude, I nearly fell over. I couldn't believe that.